And maybe you've heard this before, maybe this is a good refresher for you. But your brain is always looking for and finds what it already believes. Belief doesn't change your reality, it changes how you respond to it. And that response is what creates or kills your momentum.
Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this.
Hey friends, welcome back to our Big V Word series that we're doing here on the podcast. Today we're talking about a word, a concept that we could spend months talking about. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, and the word is belief. And I wanted to start today with a question, and I want you to actually sit with it and not just let it pass through. What would you do if you truly, fully, without hesitation, believed in yourself? Not someday, not when things felt clearer or more certain, like right now, if you believed in yourself. What decision would you make? What action would you take? How different would your life and your business look if you stopped second guessing and just went for it? And as strongly as I like to talk about this topic, every time I go through this, these points and things that I coach on, and it applies to me too, because belief work is an ongoing work, just like self-concept work is an ongoing work. You never fully arrive, because as you're moving the goalpost or you're setting bigger goals, that unbelief is going to show up. That uncertainty is going to show up. So I want to say this right out of the gate, that belief is not hype. It's not toxic positivity. I'm not asking for that. It's not pretending you're confident when you're not. Belief is what determines whether you act or you stall, whether you move forward or wait for clarity that will come only after you take the step. So let's get into it. I can remember that when I first started my business, this was a really big challenge for me, because all of the evidence that my brain had gathered over the years, I didn't have any sales experience. I had a real fear of talking in front of people. I had all kinds of beliefs around money and my effort that it was going to require, and like only the successful people are the people who have these talents. There were so many beliefs and thoughts that I had going through my head when I first started. So I want to say that sometimes it's grabbing on to someone else's belief in you, grabbing some of their thoughts that they have until they feel true to you. So there is some of that. I had so many people that believed in me early on, and I'm so grateful to them, because when I couldn't see it and I didn't understand it and I didn't think it was possible, I saw everyday, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And I remember thinking, gosh, if they can do it, I can do it too, right? So there's also this ripple effect that happens when you move with belief and you start accomplishing things that you never dreamed would be possible, because you had a mustard seed of faith or this one belief that you held on to, and it carried you through, and someone else is watching you and you're super inspiring to them right now. And you might not be where you want to be in your business right now, or in your relationships, or in your health journey, but you're not where you used to be. Like, how about try that belief on for a second? You're not where you want to be, which validates where you are, but you're also not where you used to be. So your thoughts are always running the show. They're always running the show. And here's something I want you to know about your brain. You have an estimated 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day, and about 2,500 to 3,000 per hour. And here's the part that should stop you in your tracks. 80 to 90% of those thoughts are repetitive. We're recycling the same thoughts day after day after day. And a Harvard study found that nearly 40% of our waking hours are spent thinking about something other than we're actually doing. I get that. Almost half our lives were lived in distraction. Now, here's why this matters. Around 80% of those thoughts lean negative, not because you're doing it wrong or you're broken. That's just your brain's just doing its job. It's wired for survival, not success. It will always default to caution, to doubt, to protection, unless you intentionally disrupt the pattern. The problem is your thoughts aren't facts, but your brain treats them like they are. Whatever you think repeatedly becomes your brain's default setting. It's the baseline truth. It's the baseline belief. So if you're on repeat with, I'm not ready, I'll probably mess this up, I don't trust myself, I can't accomplish this, this is too hard, this won't happen, your brain is out there collecting evidence to prove every single one of those thoughts right. But here's the flip side, and this is where your power lives. If you shift to, I can figure this out, I don't need certainty to take the next step, I trust myself to adjust, your brain goes to work finding evidence for that too. It's called confirmation bias. And maybe you've heard this before. Maybe this is a good refresher for you. But your brain is always looking for and finds what it already believes. Belief doesn't change your reality. It changes how you respond to it. And that response is what creates or kills your momentum. So I always like to tell my clients, you are holding the remote control in your hand to your brain. And today we're going to talk about how to change the channel. Because again, this is ongoing work. And one of my goals with my coaching clients is not for them to grow a dependence on me to do this work for them. I'm going to teach them how over and over and over again. We're going to do this process. And then when they leave, they feel so empowered that they can change the channel. They know they don't have to keep believing every thought that their brain is offering up to them. So years ago, I was at a conference and I saw a phrase that stopped me cold, and it said, belief is my superpower. And then there was like a line underneath it that said, with belief, and then you filled in the blank there. And something really clicked. When I'm operating from belief, real belief, I move differently. I show up differently. I make decisions differently, and I get different results. But when belief wavers, I hesitate. I overthink and overthink and overthink and overanalyze. I delay. I wait for clarity that only comes after I act. And here's the thing that a lot of us can get wrong about belief is they think it's something you wait to feel. But belief is not a feeling. It's revealed by action, right? Like all the thoughts that I had coming into entrepreneurship and beliefs that I didn't have in myself, each time I took a step and I got a result, then it changed my belief system, right? But you can believe, and there's a lot of ands that I'm teaching my clients to add in there. You can believe and still feel afraid. 100%. Two things can exist at the same time. You can believe and still feel unsure. You can believe and still feel resistance. It can be hard, and you can still believe that you can do it.
Hey friend, let's talk. It's time to book your clarity call. We are going to spend 1 full hour focused on you. A clarity call isn't about pressure. It's about possibilities. It's about you. You having a space to talk through what's on your heart and mind, you walking away with a clear vision and practical next steps, and you feeling confident in what's next and how to get there. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's my job. All you need to do is show up and we'll figure it out together. This is the best hour you can invest in yourself right now. Not in 6 months from now, not next month, right now. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what one of my coaching clients had to say after working together.
I honestly cannot say enough positive things about coaching with Martine. From the very first session, I knew this was something different. The deep dive into who I am and why I operate the way I do, per the ProScan results, has helped me immensely. and allowed me to embrace my unique qualities on various levels. I would 1000% recommend hiring her for whatever level of transformation you're looking for.
That transformation, it starts with one conversation. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. So head right now to martinewilliams.com or in the show notes and grab your private clarity call spot on my calendar before they're gone. And since I personally monitor my inbox, if you don't see a time slot that fits your calendar, just send me an email at martinewilliams.com with 3 times that do work, and I will make it work for you. All right, friend, let's get back to the show.
So Brooke Castillo, who is the Life Coach Schools, she's the creator of the Life Coach School, asked a question that I love. And she says, how do you know if you believe in a goal? You look at the action you took last week. If there was no action, belief wasn't fully present yet. And that's not a character flaw. It's just information. Like, okay, where are my beliefs off here? Belief grows through movement and creating the thoughts that will help you to do that. Action brings clarity. You've heard me talk about my action wheel. Action brings clarity. Clarity brings confidence, and confidence creates more action. But it all starts also with your belief. Andy Stanley once asked a question that has stuck with me many years. What would you do if you knew God was with you and you couldn't fail? Like, what would you do? This is a great question to ask when you're struggling with, like, what do you want to do? I was just having this conversation with one of my clients. She's like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what business I want to have, or I'm not, that there was just a confusion. And I'm like, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you choose? Because the reason we don't choose things is we don't have the belief. We think we're going to fail, and nobody wants to fail. What risk would you take if you knew that God was with you and you couldn't fail? What would you stop postponing? The story of Joseph in the Bible is a perfect picture of this, because it's a man who held on to belief through betrayal, being sold, in prison by his own family. And his circumstances didn't reflect his belief for a long time, but he didn't abandon it, because belief isn't about things being easy. It's meaning you're trusting that this chapter isn't the conclusion, that there's more, that you're going to get there. It's taking longer than you thought, right? I've talked a lot about that over the last few episodes with regards to my grief, right? But I have to believe that I'm going to get through it. If I don't, can you imagine if I didn't hold that belief that grief is not going to be with me for the rest of my life? Imagine the decisions I would make, the actions I wouldn't take. If I didn't believe that my business can be where I want it to be in 3 years, the actions on my plan are going to feel really even harder than they're going to be even if I had the belief. It's going to be harder because my brain and my body are not on board. They're at war with one another, and that does not feel good. So the stories we've been telling ourselves are vital. And I don't remember where I came across this story, but there was a teacher who once, her students came into the classroom, and she had this piece of paper and she had it flipped down, face down. And she said, all right, we're having a quiz. And she said, flip over the page. They all flipped over the page, and there was a black dot on the page. And she said, the quiz is to describe what you see. And every student described the dot, where the black dot was on the page, how big the black dot was, like all the things were about the black dot. And she continued, like, this is how we see life. We focus on the small imperfections, the setbacks, what's going wrong, and we overlook all the possibility and the progress, the good that surrounds it, like all of the white space around that black dot. That little dot doesn't define the page, and your challenges don't define your whole story. So most of us are staring at the dot and the beliefs we've built around that dot, the stories we've repeated so often that they feel true. Those are what quietly shape our lives, limit our decisions, and keep us stuck. And maybe, again, yours sound like I'm not ready. Or if I say no, I'll let people down. Or hustle is the only way. Or one day I'll get back to fill in the blank. Or success means working really, really, really hard. Or success is for those talented people, right? Or I don't deserve money as a woman. Like, it's really interesting to me. I don't remember exactly who I was talking to, where this came up, but it's come up a couple of times. Maybe I should do a podcast episode on this. But when I'm asking people like what they want, what their goals are, and the topic of money comes up, it's so interesting. Only women feel like they have to go into this huge explanation on why money. And it's like they always say, well, it's not really about, it's not the money. Like, I'm not doing it because I want to be wealthy or, and my brain, I'm like, what's wrong with you being wealthy? Who's told you that you can't be wealthy? But there's just so many beliefs we have about money that create a self-sabotage experience. If you believe more money creates more problems or more money changes people, or do you think you're going to grow your business to create more money? So we have to challenge our beliefs. They're not facts. They're thoughts you've decided are true. That's what a belief is. It's a thought that you have decided is true. And when those beliefs go unchecked, they will run the show. And you won't even realize it. So living with a limiting belief is like trying to drive with the emergency brake on. You can be doing everything right, waking up early, making the list, managing the schedules, and still feel drained and behind. It's not laziness, it's misalignment. We talk about that a lot on the podcast. And misalignment starts in the mind. It's not a discipline problem. For most of you, you know how to work hard. You know how to be disciplined. It's a belief problem. And so one of the things that I teach my clients is my Triple C belief breakthrough method to shift belief practically. Like, here's a practical tool that you can do. How do you take the emergency brake off that's limiting your actions? So the first step is, the first C is you got to catch the thought. Again, so many thoughts running through your head, you're not even realizing it. So it's awareness. Notice what's running through your mind. What are you telling yourself right now about this goal, about this decision, about this version of you? You can't change what you don't see. So you have to catch it. And for a lot of my clients, I really challenge them, catch it, put it on paper. Like, dump them all out. And this is not an opportunity to dump all your thoughts out and then judge yourself for your thoughts. We're just catching them right now, getting them all on paper. Next, you're going to challenge them. You're going to check them. Is this a fact or is it a fear? Is it true or is it an assumption that I've been carrying around for so long it feels true? Is it fact or is it a perception that someone else told me? So ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is this thought moving me towards what I want or away from it? What would I say to a friend? Because it can be true. The thought can be true. And is it helpful to think about it? Right? So again, going through my grief, like, it was circumstantially true that my mother-in-law had terminal pancreatic cancer. But was it helpful, or would it have been helpful for me to think on that? No, I had to catch those thoughts and check those thoughts. So it can be true and also not helpful for you to be thinking about if you're wanting to move in a different direction. It can be true that your income is not where you want it to be, and it's not helpful for you to be thinking about that as you're trying to grow your income and grow your business.
Quick pause. If you've been listening and you're ready to stop performing your life and start leading it, if you know you're ready to feel better now, not later, and you're ready for support that actually creates sustainable transformation, I have private one-on-one coaching spots open. And inside this coaching, in Illuminate You coaching, we don't guess. We use your unique personality blueprint built from the science-backed personality and performance tool called the ProScan, the one you've heard me talk about here in the podcast. This is used so that every decision, every boundary, every shift is designed specifically around your wiring, not someone else's. This is my aligned success method. It's not hacks. It's not try harder. It's not mindset glitter. It's a real solution. It's rooted in science, strategy, and your unique design. So you can lead your life as the woman you actually are, not the woman others expect you to be. Now is the time. Take the step. Book your clarity call at martinewilliams.com/clarity. All right, back to the episode. The third step would be then to change the thought.
Choose something more empowering, not toxic positivity, not fake it till you make it, not pretending the challenge isn't real, but a thought that supports action instead of avoidance or stalling. If the thought is, I'm not good enough to do this, shift it to, I'm learning and growing, and I'm ready to take the next step. If the thought is, I'll probably mess up, shift to, I can figure this out. I trust myself to adjust. So this is not fluff. I know a lot of you action oriented. I'm action oriented too, but I'm telling you, protecting my mindset has been my number one success tool in the 20 years that I've been an entrepreneur. Because our brains do what our brains do, and your brain is like my brain, and they all do the same thing. So we have to catch, check, and change the thoughts. Belief doesn't require certainty. It requires a willingness to do that process. And here's what I really want you to hear. Your feelings are real, but they're not always true. And when they run the show, they lead you to burnout, to guilt, to resentment. When you start checking your feelings against truth, you take your own power back. Some of your thoughts feel so incredibly true, and they're not. They're just a thought your brain has offered up, and you don't have to believe it. You can shift it. That's science. That's not just Martine's opinion. It's science. So here's the deeper layer of all of this, because belief isn't just about your goals. It's about your identity. And who do you believe yourself to be? Because here's what I've seen time and time again. Desire without belief creates frustration. You can want something deeply, work toward it consistently, and still self-sabotage if your identity doesn't match what you're reaching for. Again, if your identity is not matching these things, the woman who is required to create these results, it's like a self-sabotage. And disbelief plus action, it does not give you results. It creates exhaustion because you're doing all the things, but you're not believing. And so it's, again, like driving a car with the emergency brake on. And sitting on the fence sounds like, I want this, but I don't trust myself. I want this, but I don't think I can do it. I want this, but you fill in the blank. Belief is when your thoughts, your actions, your identity come into alignment. And that alignment, that's what creates sustainable success. When your thinking is on point, your actions are going to be on point, because your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings create your actions, and your actions create your results. That's a deeper thing called the model that I also teach my clients when they come in. It's not the hustle. It's not the perfect plan. It's alignment. It's aligning your beliefs and your thoughts with your actions and your identity. Those three things together. So what you believe will always rise to the surface at some point. I think it was Bob Heilig, and he shared this on his podcast. This is years ago. And he said, it doesn't matter what you say you want. What you believe to be true, it's going to rise to the surface at some point. So what you truly believe will ultimately rule the day. So the real question isn't how do I get more done or how do I find more discipline? It's what do I believe to be true about myself right now? My worth, my capacity, my ability, my capability to succeed. When you change what you believe, you change what becomes possible. You become the queen of possibility, which is what I've been named by several people. Like, I have done so much work on this brain. I'm still doing it, but I'm always looking for the possibility. I'm always looking for the solution. I'm believing for the solution. I'm believing for the possibility. And that's a muscle that I have trained really well. But I also have coaching, peer coaching, a coach, a mastermind who also comes alongside of me and can see where I'm not believing, the thoughts that are not serving me, because sometimes you can't see them yourself. You just can't. That's why they call them blind spots. That's the beautiful thing about having the support. I have some clients that come in and they are looking for specific things to do and to accomplish, and they just need a thought partner, right? They have a lot of great skill sets, they're looking for a thought partnership. They're looking for someone to support them along the way to their goals. They're looking for someone to call them out on their blind spots. And so coaching is not just for someone who needs all these extra skill sets or is like completely burnt out. I do have people that come in that are completely burnt out, and we handle that first. But I have a lot of clients that come in, they're like, I'm not burnt out. Like I'm in my head and I need someone to clear my head out. I need someone to like verbally process these things. I need someone who can see what I can't see. And so that's also the beautiful thing about coaching. And honestly, that's why I've had a coach for 20 years, off and on, pretty much. Because yes, I'm growing my skill sets, but what I need more than anything else is I need that support. I need someone to see what I can't see. So here's what I want to leave you with today, and a challenge to carry into this week. And before I do that, after I just went on that rant about coaching, if you are curious about coaching, what a coach is, what a life alignment coach is, how I can support you, book a clarity call, martinewilliams.com/clarity. And we'll talk about all that. We'll talk about where you are, where you want to go, how I can best support you, what's the simple, doable process to help you get from point A to point B. And no pressure. It's just a conversation. And there is so much value in that conversation. I mean, literally, there are so many people that get off that call and they're like, I never saw it that way. I did not know. I thought the problem was this. Well, the real problem is this. Wow, thank you, right? It's kind of like when you don't know what's going on, you go to all these doctors and they can't give you the diagnosis, and you finally find the one who like tells you what the problem is. There's so much relief in just knowing that. And then you get to decide what you're going to do with that information. That's what the clarity call feels like for so many people, which is why I offer it, because that makes me feel good as a coach. So what I want you to do and carry into this week is I want you to write down one thing you would do differently if you fully trusted yourself. With belief, fill that in. With belief is my superpower. With belief, I would, and fill in the blank. Not someday, right now. What would change? Second, take one small action toward the thing this week. Not perfect action, just move. And then third, notice what belief you're practicing through that action. What are the thoughts that are coming up? Do the triple C. Catch it, check it, and change it. And when doubt or fear creep in, because they will, remind yourself of this. I'm either getting the result that I want or the lesson that I need. Both move you forward, both matter, and neither is wasted. Belief isn't always loud. It's just steady. And it's built on one decision at a time. So again, if today's episode stirred something in you, that's not random. It's not. That's awareness. And awareness is where everything begins. And if you want support strengthening your belief, strengthening your alignment, your self-trust in a way that fits your real life, I would love to walk with you through that. So you can book your clarity call again at martinewilliams.com/clarity, or you can just go to the show notes. And if you have any questions or comments or anything about this episode, come on over to Instagram at Martine31, the number 31 Williams, and let me know. All right. I will catch you on our next episode. And you know, I'm believing in you always.
Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.